many programming languages.
Yeah, use Sunny. Use Sunny.
Which to use Sunny.
Use Sunny.
It's nice. There is Sunny programming.
Sunny, you are.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
I could have written, okay, the answer is Sunny.
Sunny.
The answer is Sunny.
The answer is Sunny.
Sit under sun.
27 slides.
You should have assigned it, right?
You won't believe it, I did it last night. I wrote everything by myself without downloading it anyway. So, yeah, okay, so shall I start?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in last presentation we were discussing about, okay, I can brief you guys about like which programming languages to use. Actually this idea came in my mind because when I came here in PhD I kind of struggled, okay, which one to use. Generally people over here they use FORTRAN and I'm not a big fan of FORTRAN, okay, it's personal choice. Then there are many other languages, people use C++, Python, MATLAB, we all use. So there are pros and cons with every language. So but before using any language you cannot simply like switch from one language to another, you have to switch all your code, so it's take time. So it's little better if you know in advance, okay, what are the pros and cons of which language, which kind of industry use which language, and what are plus and minus. So I'll start the slides with, okay, there are so many programming languages in the world, I guess more than 20, 30, like which one to use. So it depends upon the application. Each programming language has their benefit and drawbacks. So I did this quick search yesterday. So if you search on internet, Google search, okay, there is no valid thing, I haven't downloaded it from internet or somewhere. Sorry, I haven't downloaded it from Wikipedia. So I cannot say it ultimately that which language is mostly used. But if you will search on internet, Python is the most used language, followed by Java. And again C++, Ruby on Rails, JavaScript, C#, C, PHP, there are many languages. But there is no, okay, maybe if you will search again, somebody will say, okay, Python is not most used programming language. But still it is gaining a lot of popularity recently and it's quite old language. So if you guys want to know some languages, I'll suggest that at least you should know Python, little bit about Java or C++. And JavaScript and Ruby you can avoid, they are mostly used for web pages where you are developing web pages. And PhD guys, we generally do not deal with web pages, so we can avoid JavaScript and Ruby on Rails, Scala, Perl and so on. And this is another quick survey. So I was checking which programming languages are used mostly in US. So again Python is at the top, followed by Java, MATLAB, C, C#. Scheme, I have never heard of it, unfortunately. Scratch, I know, okay. So, okay, just another graph. So, you cannot fully rely on this thing, but yeah. Still, it's I just downloaded it, I just checked it, okay, just to show you quickly, I have.
Total number of companies is 39.
Number of
30%.
39 US departments.
Computer science departments. Number of.
I just wanted to show, okay, which languages are mostly used languages. That's it.
Yeah.
Importance. Not going into the detail of it, okay, how much percentage it is. So there are many languages, of course, you know, FORTRAN. So I will start with FORTRAN. It is one of the oldest language.
Yeah.
And okay, COBOL, and there are many other languages. So FORTRAN started somewhere in 1970s. Of course, there are pros and cons with FORTRAN. It's one of the oldest. Mostly it is used in academia. All the codes which you will find here in this lab, people have written it in FORTRAN. Syntax are very bad. These are cons. Worst syntax I guess I have ever encountered. It hasn't been updated with time. Nobody has updated it. Not new libraries are being introduced in it. If you get confused with syntax or want to take some sort of help, it's not available online. Suppose you want to do FFT, which you take it for granted in MATLAB. It's not there in FORTRAN. I'm talking about FORTRAN. So it's not there in FORTRAN. Again, plotting is very tough with FORTRAN. Suppose you run a code, you get a data, you have to save it to a text file, then you have to import it in MATLAB, then you can kind of plot it.
You can do it in FORTRAN.
Okay, you can use in ggplot also. I know that there are, but okay, they're not that good.
Yeah.
Visualize, if you say it visualize, if you visualize it, it's not that good.
Yeah.
MATLAB has higher quality. So to make a video, then again it's another problem. So there are many other problems. And if you see in Fortran, suppose you are running a small code, but if you are running a big code and every time you are saving a file of 100 MB or 200 MB, I was doing it, then you are importing it into MATLAB, then it's a tough deal. It takes time also, and it consumes memory also. So quite fast.
Can I interject?
Yeah, sure.
I think that fourth point, quite fast,
Yeah,
is actually much more faster than MATLAB. And
I know
many
that.
other languages.
yeah. I just wrote quite fast. I haven't compared it. I was about to say it. Yeah, I know that. C++ and Fortran, they are the fastest language.
FORTRAN is the best.
I won't. Okay, I don't know about that. If it is the truth.
I've
Okay.
dealt with it,
Okay.
Well, not extensively with C++, but I think FORTRAN is very fast, much more faster than MATLAB.
Okay, we can discuss on that. You can justify that later on. Is it so? I don't know. Maybe it's faster than C++, but I don't think so that it is very, very faster than C++, because C++ is also a low-level language.
Okay.
Fortran is a low-level language.
I'm comparing it with MATLAB.
Yeah, with MATLAB, yeah, of course, it's very much faster. I know that. With MATLAB, it's pretty much fast. Fortran. So if you want to go with the fast thing, so Fortran is your language, C++ is your language. Another benefit, it's free and open source. So there is a thing called as low-level language where you have to make all sort of loops by yourself, which you do in Fortran. You sort of make loops, same in C++. That's why it's faster. That's where MATLAB and Python, they are a little slow. Next comes the C and C++. They came sometime in 1980s. Again, they are very fast, same level to the Fortran. Widely used by coders all over the world. There is great online help if you get stuck with syntax, if you want to use some libraries. Ample amount of help is available online. It's getting updated with time. Latest version is, I guess, C++ 15 related to 2015. So they kind of update their libraries, they update their syntax. So most of the old computers, they are written in C or C++, if I'm right. Okay, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, and another drawback which I forgot to mention in Fortran, there is this concept called as object-oriented programming, which is not there in Fortran, I guess, but it's there in C++. I won't go into detail of object-oriented programming, but this is the backbone of this is the backbone of C++. Object-oriented programming is not there in C, and I have used it in my codes, but I don't know how many people over here they use it. It's one of the good funda to use, but there is a steep curve also to learn it. It takes some time to learn it, and it's okay. Frankly, people say it's very tough to learn this object-oriented concept in C. So it will take some time, but once you learn it, I guess you will be happy. I guess again, it is free and open source. Drawback same as Fortran. In this C++, there is no floating library in this one. But you can download external packages like ggplot, or you can link it with MATLAB. But again, if you're linking it with MATLAB, then this open source thing is gone, because MATLAB is a paid software. You're using a paid software, then okay, it's not free anymore if you're using C++. Okay, people say there are concepts like pointer polymorphism and objects which are tough to understand in C++. I'm not going into detail of that. So if you want to use that concept, you need to spend some time, you need to learn that. So it will take some time. So any question till now? Want to know something? Okay. So these were.
Can we correct FORTRAN with MATLAB? Oh, sorry, C.
Why do you want to do that? What is the benefit?
I'm just asking you.
No, I don't think so. First of all, because both are different programming languages, syntax are different, and in Fortran you write a loop, like syntax of for loop. In C++ you write a loop. Both do the same things at the same speed. There is
Suppose
no.
if I have a FORTRAN program and I would like to call it in C++, so is it possible to call it?
I do not think so. I do not think so, because Fortran hasn't updated, but this thing is there in Python and C++. If you write a program in Python, somehow there are libraries which, because Python is slow, I'm telling you in advance, what people do, they write code in Python because it's slow, they convert it into C++ so that it will run faster. So there you can do, but I'm not sure about C++ and Fortran, never heard of it, and I don't think so.
can create max file in MATLAB, which can put C or C++ or even Java code and run them. No, those are the what do you call them?
Executables are different. At DLL there are like extra files.
What was the name? Registry file basically. They are different.
Okay, if you really want to learn some language, C++ is your language. Because if you will tell it to somebody, I know C++, okay, they will think that, okay, you know things. Next comes the Java. Some gag?
Huh?
You can say over
I
here.
was asking her that which language is used in Excel.
Okay.
Huh?
Visual Basic, yeah. So next comes the Java. Most of the computer guys use Java. I have never seen anybody using over here Java. Most of the computer guys use Java. I don't know much about Java, but Java is the most important language when you want to make Android apps.
So we are not computer guys.
Okay, gag aside. Okay, I was talking about like typical in industries way. Okay, so 70% of phones are on Android, 70-80%. There they use Java. Without Java you cannot do. There are good developed libraries over there. If you can use C++ and FORTRAN over there, but it will be tough because libraries are already developed over there. You don't want to reinvent the wheel. So it's like that. Mostly software industry people, they use object-oriented concepts are easier in Java than C++. Because Java came after C++, they kind of made it little easy how to do it. So I personally haven't plotted anything in Java, so cannot say anything about how plotting is done in Java or how to link that thing. Yeah, there are many languages. I'm throwing many names on you maybe. I just want to briefly explain this. C++ is new language. Microsoft has made it. So, sorry, C#. Microsoft has made it. It is mainly used in Windows app development, but you know Windows phones are outdated, so kind of there is no use to learn it. But recently they have made good libraries to use in virtual reality and augmented reality. Yeah, augmented reality. Sorry. So virtual reality and augmented reality, there are good libraries in that. So C# people mostly use it over there. But you can use it in other industries also.
Can we link this to Java? Because Java, if app we are using Java, they have also AR in your apps. So it means that AR will be implemented in C# or like also in Java.
Maybe Java people will make different libraries. It depends because Java and C# they are different companies, whether they are ready to merge it or not. They are.
I mean, like if I am developing an Android app which is in Java, so I am trying to add a feature of AR or VR.
No, but suppose. No, but suppose if syntax does not support, you write something in Java, there is particular syntax to write a for loop over there.
But the applications have this feature of augmented reality. That's what I'm saying. So how they have done with only C# or like in
I haven't understood your question. Can you say it again?
I mean, if I have an app in my mobile and that app has a feature of AR.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm asking that how that AR feature in the app is installed.
Maybe they have provided some sort of patch. Like once that feature is developed, how to patch that thing with the Java. They must have provided something. But I thought maybe you were talking about how to connect the languages at the base level. Not at the base level.
But AR can be implemented in Java as well. Right?
In every language. I was just saying that C#, the people are like kind of providing good libraries in comparison to any other libraries. Because suppose if, of course you can make Android app in Python also. I told you in C also, Android apps. But it's easy to make it in Java because there are well developed libraries on that. If you will start doing in C++, it's like, okay, doing the efforts again and again. You can do it. So, but because that libraries are okay, well developed. So I was saying in that way. Okay, C#, I think I'll take more than half an hour, sorry. So Objective-C and Swift, they're mostly used in Apple. Apple people, they write in Objective-C all the apps. So made by Apple, iOS app development. I've never heard people using in academia or anywhere else. So maybe they use it. So Objective-C. So GOLANG, Google has recently launched their language, I guess 3-4 years back, called as GOLANG. So generally, I guess most of you have heard about parallel programming and multi-threading, how to make programs fast to run processors in parallel. I've heard that people who have like made GOLANG or the syntax, they have somehow doing this parallel programming thing inbuilt in that. In C++ or Python, you have to kind of externally call it and sort of write a program. I don't know how they're doing it, but I've heard it. Somebody was saying, and maybe some video tutorial or something, they have kind of implemented it. It's gaining importance, but because C++ and Python, they are being used from like 30 years, so it's not like that overnight GOLANG will surpass them. It's not that, but in many of applications in Google itself, people are using GOLANG. So gaining popularity, implementing multi-threading, parallel processing. HTML and JavaScript, they are used where you use web development thing. So here we are doing coding to run some programs. Why are you laughing? Anyway, sorry.
Zero.
Okay. So
you will ask first, you will admit it.
okay. So JavaScript is mostly used for web pages, like the front web page, like Chrome, Internet Explorer. The background language is JavaScript. So yeah, that's the best language for web development. So that is not.
Do
Hmm?
you know?
I know a bit of it. But actually, I don't want to pursue career in that thing, so I didn't go further.
Next class you will prepare a website.
Okay. So yeah, then comes the MATLAB. We all use MATLAB. Yeah, we all use MATLAB. Widely used in academia. Easy to install. You just install and okay, it will take 2-3 hours. It will be 10 GB of package latest, I guess. You need to have 10 GB of space if you download the latest version. Lot of online help, great plotting library, plus points of MATLAB. Quite heavy in installation, 10 GB of space, commercial, not free, you have to pay for it. If you are working in academia in future, okay, most of the colleges or university have it, it's okay. So, but suppose a new programmer, some like 15-20 years old, guy want to do programming, he cannot buy this MATLAB. He cannot do it open source. If he is not.
My director, he was like in 60s. He used to have student budget of
Okay, but still, yeah, okay. So you cannot buy it. Industries do not use MATLAB as far as I know. Okay, the software industry which I'm talking about, maybe they use, maybe as far as I know. I added this point. So as far as I know, they don't use it. They don't.
You are correct. It's not regular
Yeah.
because industry would like to pay for commercial software.
Yeah, why would
Even
they?
if they would like to pay for it, they don't want to be dependent on it.
And it's not about payment also, it's about installation also. Why they would waste 10 GB of space? Industries work on by installing their things on servers. Why would they install servers also?
It's
Hmm?
nothing.
It's,
10 GB is nothing.
but still, why to waste? If you can get something for like in 500 MB, Python or C++, why to use 10 GB?
I don't think 10 GB is very
No, I'm saying why to use it?
Maybe there are two.
Why to use
industries
it?
Actually,
here. Two different areas.
Okay, and anyway.
One
you
industry
can
where
reduce the
software,
installation size by
cloud
selecting
storage,
the
everything is a
components that
priority,
you want.
and
You-
one industry
You
where
can
You don't need
industry
simulate,
where
you
that's not a
can reduce
priority.
like another 1 or
Software
2
is not a
GB.
priority.
I know that, but there are many packages because if you when you kind of install MATLAB, each package is like 500 MB. You
Yeah.
will install at least 2-3 packages.
Yes.
At least minimum 2-3 packages. So it's like 500, 600. So it itself account for like 2 GB or something.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if you install Python, it's only like it's just a compiler, nothing
I'm
else.
not denying that. All I'm saying is
But
that
even with the compiler, you have to install MATLAB to plot a thing or something.
No, there are very light libraries over there in Python. If you install Matplotlib.
It doesn't matter.
I'll show you later on. When you install like 200 or 300 packages with Python, it's only 500 MB. When you do almost like similar thing with MATLAB, it's like 10 GB. But okay, there are more packages in MATLAB, but generally people do not use it. So generally people do not use it. So anyway, another thing is with MATLAB, you have to use its ID. You know the window of MATLAB. There are many options. So you cannot, as far as I know, you cannot install a MATLAB program you cannot run a MATLAB program through terminal. Can you? I don't think so. So you have to use that IDE. So again, I think it's little slow. Anyway,
Okay, we can move on.
Yeah.
so MATLAB you all know.
What is IDE?
Okay. IDE is called as Integrated Development Environment. I'll show you in a while. Okay, the whole window of MATLAB, that is called as IDE, Integrated Development Environment. I'll differentiate between IDE and code editors in a while. Okay, just remember that window is called as IDE. Okay, Python came in sometime 1990. It looks like it's a new language, but it's quite old language. It came sometime 1990. C++ came in 1980s something. Yeah, go ahead.
So I have a question, like why they name it Python?
Yeah, I don't know. Go ask that Android. Go ask that Android people why always they name their versions as jelly bean, chocolate beans, or I don't know.
It's cute. Python is cute. I thought Yang is cute.
It's the cutest.
Oh, sorry.
Look at the logo of Python.
No, I'm saying the actual. This is the book snake.
They didn't tell me, so I don't know. Okay, so Python is quite an old language. It came sometime in 1990s. It's quite old, sometimes similar. Okay, so I could have added the words. It came sometime similar to like C++. Ample online help, lot of online help is there. Easiest syntaxes to work with. Actually, the guy who made Python, he made it for these students, like 15-20-year-old, just to understand the syntaxes. But later on, it gained popularity and it became a language itself, big language. Because in Python you just write it like this: for loop, then you write in a particular range. On the other hand, in C++ or FORTRAN, you like for, int, I, semicolon, something. So it's quite easy to visualize syntaxes in Python in comparison to any other language. Object-oriented concepts are there like C++, and again, as Java made it easier, Python also made it easier to understand. So it's easier to implement these object-oriented concepts in Python than C++. The most important thing, whatever you can do with MATLAB, you can do with Python, everything and even more, and without having pay.
Strong statement.
Yeah.
If I will find something which is
Okay, come on, it's figure of speech.
You cannot run MATLAB in Python.
It's a figure of speech. Like you can do everything in Python. Plotting libraries are so good in Python, same as the quality of MATLAB. So free and open source. So many libraries, people make so many libraries, they kind of update it. They kind of put on Python website, people can download it. Same way you take FFT granted in MATLAB, it's granted in Python. Not as heavy as MATLAB. You can download or install only those libraries which you need or which you want. You do not have to install 10 GB or like 200 GB. Anyway, the first time I started working with Python is in my masters, and I was using only 3 or 4 libraries. In total it was accounting for 100 MB, and it was getting me my work done. So
Can I add some point?
yeah, sure, go ahead.
It's also very robust in terms of data science. So
Yeah, that I'll add.
large sets of data, and Python is really useful, and it has dedicated libraries. Although I don't know Python, but
Yeah.
I
It
think
is there.
Python picked up a lot of popularity because it's very good for data processing.
Yeah.
I think that's where they saw that Python has become very
Mhm.
popular in the recent days, though it existed for a very long time.
Actually, people uploaded the libraries so it's more about the Python is more about from the people.
Yeah.
MATLAB is like sort of company where they make libraries. Although other people can also provide and update libraries, but Python is mostly open source, where people write libraries by themselves, and then other people download and kind of use it. Biggest drawback, it's slower than C++, it's slower than FORTRAN, but you have to do the trade-off. Whether you want easy syntaxes, whether you want to make your life easy, or you want to make the code run faster. If you want to deploy your code in industries or like on servers, Python is not your choice. It's not your language. People won't do it, or industry people won't do it. They will use C++. All the gamings, all the AR, VR, they will be written in C++. They won't be written in Python. even if they are written in Python, there is a thing called as C Python. They convert that thing into C++ code to make it run faster. I exactly do not know how they do it, how that libraries work. I haven't used it personally, but this is the thing. You have to do the trade-off, and it's not like that it's very slow. It's not very slow. It's decent enough, and with today's GPU and parallel programming, you can get a decent speed with Python also. So people are using it a lot, and it has become a necessity in many industries. So yeah, so slower than C++, but I'll suggest that it's still worth using it from my personal experience. Like in FORTRAN and C++, when I was like during my PhD, it was tough for me to every time to download data and plot. Like first download, save, and then plot, and then kind of visualize. In Python and MATLAB, you can do like you're running a program and simultaneously some data is getting there and you're plotting it, and right now while then the program is still going on. So it's easy to visualize in Python and MATLAB. So
Can you please clarify when you say industries, what exactly you're talking about?
I'm mostly talking about computer industries, software industries, because programming language is used mostly over there. Those sort of industries, not these research industries and this kind. Mostly software industries.
I have seen Python now.
That's why I said you both are talking about two different industries.
No, even normal industries.
I think most of the industries have research and development part, so you can use it here.
No. Most of the big,
I was in R&D and we used to have a FORTRAN tool which
They
was
use-
running in the background, and on top of it we had a big system which was GUI or IDE which can control everything.
and with big industries, somehow they are bound to use their languages also. As I told you, I heard like people in Google, they are using GOLANG more and more. Okay, because if they won't use it, why will another person will use it? Apple people, they will use Objective-C. Some industry like C or MATLAB people will use MATLAB. So I was talking about software industries mostly. So this was brief about few of the languages. So pros and cons. Next I'm showing you the syntaxes with the FORTRAN. Bad syntax. Yeah.
O2
Yeah.
is not used. Oh.
Any comments about R, Scilab?
No, I didn't want to add that one. R is again gaining popularity. It's for data science mostly. And Scilab, I have used it once, I guess, but haven't used it. I haven't used Scilab. I know it's similar to MATLAB, I guess.
Yeah, I've heard
It's
that they are
similar.
working a lot.
Yeah, it's similar to MATLAB, and it's free. I haven't used Scilab much. R is again similar to Python. So Mathematica is more for solving equations, I guess, as far as I know.
Okay, so it's not useful.
It's
Right,
not.
right.
It's for solving integrals and those sort of differentiations,
Yeah,
rather than
yeah.
it's not a programming language.
I think Mathematica, I remember using during my masters, you have to just plug in an equation like you
Yeah.
type
Yeah.
in Microsoft. So you have to type an equation and then you can give some variables for that equation.
They kind of give you solution for that.
And then it will solve like using like a calculator.
So if you want to know some little bit summary, if you want to know some languages, then C++ and Python and maybe Java. You cannot skip these languages. They are must needed languages nowadays. FORTRAN, okay, they are not used in software industries. So okay, FORTRAN bad syntax. It's like where this is going, go to 6, and 8, bad syntax, totally bad syntaxes. Again, not much help is available.
And then right, they used to give us negative marks if anyone will use go to sleep.
Yeah.
So,
So-
program will work, but still, they said that they used to discourage us.
I think we shouldn't compare all this programming languages and MATLAB together, right? Because MATLAB is a software, so you can exclude MATLAB.
No, I just mentioned over here. Although you can get familiar with syntax,
Yeah, that's true, but it's a
It's
software.
not in the same category.
Yeah, it's not in the same category actually.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
yeah, that's what I was mentioning. That although you can get familiar with syntax, but again you have to see that it's not much online help is available. It's not getting updated.
Yeah.
if you want to do FFT, okay, you won't be writing FFT again in Fortran every time.
No, you don't get FFT in C++ also.
Yeah, in C++.
You have to
I know.
write the
Okay,
script.
yeah, in C++ also. Okay, I mentioned that also. There are pros and cons, but syntax is better in C++ if you see that point. Anyway, so this is Fortran, C++, little bit better syntax. Okay, again you have to get familiar. You have to import things over here, some libraries. Some main function is needed, int main. This is compulsory. It tells the C++, okay, this is the main function. This is at least this is minimum to be get run, or like what is the word? Okay. So IO stream is used to import some libraries, good syntaxes to work with. Many gamers use it C++ for the best performance, fast. It is similar. Come in.
I think I'm too late to join, right?
Yeah, you come and still you can join. Although although half part is over.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, I will need to leave.
Yeah, sure thing.
So do you mind sharing your presentation?
Yeah, I'll share it. No worries.
Thank you very much.
No worries. Yeah, I'll share it. So, yeah, gamers use it for performance thing. It is faster as Fortran. Okay, another thing, it is similar to Fortran. Here, if you want to declare a variable, like in MATLAB, you just write a name. If you want to declare a variable, suppose like, let's take count as a variable name, and you can give value 5 into it, and that's it. Count equal to 5 in MATLAB, it's easy. But over here, it's not like this. You have to mention few data types, int, size. Int kind of, you're familiar with this thing, or should I explain a little bit? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. In MATLAB, you could have just straight away written like size equal to 5. It will store 5 in the size. Okay. But how much memory that size will take in the computer, that will depend whether you're storing 5 or 5.5. Because 5.5 generally takes more, because it's float. It takes 4 bytes, and 5 is an integer type, it takes 2 bytes. This is how languages are made, or like, this is how syntax are used in languages. You can do this thing in MATLAB easy, but over here you kind of you have to declare it in advance, int. So this is trouble for the new people who will come, like who will start learning language. Oh, why I want to declare int? Oh, it's troublesome. Computer should decide it by itself. But because over there you are not deciding, so memory consumption is more over there. Because you could have stored 5 or 5.5, so MATLAB has to take this into account. Okay, I have to use 4 bytes rather than using 2 bytes, because the guy can later use 5.5.
That's why it's fast.
No, that's why that's why C++ is faster. Here you kind of first initialize it that the programmer will only get 2 bytes. You cannot store 5.5 in size. You have to kind of so here in this programming language you kind of give initial instructions to the language. So that's what make it little faster, and many other factors. So this is one of the factor. This is the main part where it differs from MATLAB. You have to especially mention the data types over here. So, and if you mention some data types wrong, you mention int and you wanted to store 5.5, then this will be a problem for you later on, and C++ won't figure it out for you. You have to do it for yourself. So this is time consuming also. But again, it saves time, saves memory. And when gamers are making games, they want to make it compact and precise.
Sorry to interrupt you. I think I have some.
That's better. That's very good.
It's working on
So,
That's fine. Oh, yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
We didn't know that so many people will come slowly and slowly.
People don't reply to emails. I mean, I sent a previous email, and so no one says the replies to the email, so we don't know what is the number count.
I told Sunny that I will come.
Sorry for the.
So yeah, so I was saying that here you have to surely mention data types. Without this, C++ won't work. And I guess same is in Fortran. That's why they are the fastest language, Fortran and C++. And MATLAB is slower. So this is the reason for best performance. and this is, I have written this variable memory, same thing which I explained, that variable memory needs to be defined in advance. You have to define this thing in float in advance for less memory consumption, unlike in MATLAB and Python. Python also don't do it like this. Python do it similar way to MATLAB. That's why Python is also a little slower. So this is a trade-off. What was? G++.
Adding one.
Yeah, adding one. This is the syntax of like for loop, how the for loop is used. You need to get familiar with.
J equal to 0.
J equal to 0.
Yeah, I got that.
Increasing it by 1 until it's less than 7.
Yeah, J will always remain less than size. Suppose in size you store 5 and you are incrementing J with value of 1. So J will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on.
That C in and then greater than is like assigning value or
It's like it's assigning value. It's giving value to the size.
yeah.
It's-
So from where C in is done.
Here actually this scene like this, when you run this program, on the terminal there will come something. On terminal it will be written enter the size of array. You will enter some numeric value from the keyboard. Suppose you enter 5. Then that 5 will be stored in size. After that the later on program will run. It will kind of stop over here. This is how C in works. This is the syntax in C++. Let's not go into detail of syntaxes, I guess. Yeah, sure.
You mentioned speed several times. Just wanted to know the primary reason for difference in speed is the poor memory management in MATLAB and Python.
Yeah, one of the reasons. Yeah. Second reason, this can I'm not sure about this reason, but can be possible. In MATLAB, you kind of, when you install MATLAB first time, suppose you install 7 packages and it's 2 GB, and you run any program that's 2 GB or like whatever value I mentioned, it's there in the memory. It's okay. When you install the MATLAB, suppose you install 7 packages, that accounts for 2 GB. Every time you open the IDE window of MATLAB, I'm not sure about this point, but I think so, this is right. Every time you open the IDE window, you run a program, simple program, 2-line program, but all that libraries are there in MATLAB. When you will run it, it will kind of read it or kind of have it stored in the memory. But here in C++, the libraries are very less, and you just import the libraries you want. See, over here we mention which libraries we want to import, 2 on the top. In MATLAB, you don't do this thing. It's kind of inbuilt, ingrained in there, like when you do it in the start.
But when we say memory, it should be RAM. It shouldn't be ROM.
It will be, yeah, I think RAM, yeah.
So even if it is 2 GB, it doesn't matter. It's ROM.
2 GB?
It's not in the RAM. Like it's not the active memory which is being used by the.
But even from reading ROM,
But it will read it, I guess.
No,
So
solid
it's
state
only
drives.
read if the function is being called.
No.
To make it more like fast.
No, it's not like that. If the function is called, suppose over here, if I write it in the top, it will read everything which is there in the IO stream, everything. Then it will, then if the function is using something from that library, then only it could implement the function.
I thought the context was that how we define the variable. So if I define a variable over here, I have already specified that it's a float.
Yeah.
So it's going to occupy 16-bit of space. But if I say string, then it's going to occupy, let's say, 8-bit of space. So it's able to do that memory management in a much more efficient way than Python, which is going to allocate 16 bits of space every time.
Every time.
I thought that was the context. It's not the.
That's one of the concepts.
That's
one of the.
that thing, that variable initialization is one of the this
Even
thing.
if you go back
One of the
in assembly language, you even define everything that in the RAM where exactly you want to place your memory and everything. So
Yeah.
that's even more faster. At the end, I think
Yeah, of
it's
course,
not
assembly
like-
language is more faster.
Yeah,
Of
go
course.
to the assembly and they
Assembly language is even faster than this. But then, okay, it's not human readable, that's
Yeah.
easy. So, okay. This variable initialization is one of the reason, of course, for sure. Then again, this libraries can be another reason. I'm not sure, I told you in start that I'm not 100% sure about this thing, but
But I think
with
for
my
us,
experience.
the size and also the speed is not that much issue.
Yeah, okay.
So just
Yeah. It has been 40 minutes, really.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, let's wrap it up quickly. So again, MATLAB syntax, you all are familiar with MATLAB. This is ID of MATLAB, which I was mentioning. Like there are many other options, as you can see, breakpoints, go, find, or maybe compare, run advanced. There are many options in MATLAB window. So this is called as ID, where you get like multiple options.
And I think every button there is a code behind. So that will also run
Of course,
with
of course, with every. So okay, there is no need to import libraries on MATLAB. You just write this thing when you were installing, all the libraries were there, and no need to say data type. You just write a equal to whatever value it is. Can't use MATLAB without ID. I guess you cannot run MATLAB on terminal. You have to use this ID. It's a compulsion thing. Although good libraries are available for artificial intelligence, people are using MATLAB for artificial intelligence also, same as Python. But okay, it depends which guy wanna use which language. Okay, can't work quickly. Python syntax, it's similar. If you see the syntax, this x thing, x is equal to 34 minus 23, whatever value is, whoever's math is good. Okay, x will be stored in that. Hello will be stored in y, 3.45 will be stored in z. Again, we are not using any data types. It will be slower as MATLAB, Python, but syntax is a little easier to understand. If there is simple or, print is to just print something on the screen. Okay, so no need to, okay, over here you don't need to terminate anything with the semicolon in Python. The most important thing is in Python is if you see this if loop, there is no brackets after if loop. Generally, when we suppose we want to put two commands in if loop, we generally put brackets. In Python you don't put brackets, you just indent it. If you see this x is after some spaces, this is compulsion in Python. This is how it is a compulsion thing, that indentation is needed.
What?
Indent. This is called as indent.
No, if or while. What is this?
No, after this, suppose you want to implement these two commands in the if loop. Generally, you would have made a bracket over here. But in Python, we don't do bracket. We just give some space to all the lines which you wanted to be in the loop.
There is no end.
There is no.
End to the if loop.
No, if loop will end over here. So whenever you come out of the indent,
Yeah.
so if loop is from here, it's like bracket started from here and ended over here with the indent thing.
The moment that printf statement comes, the compiler will automatically understand that there is an error.
Or the moment the indent is finished, because we were writing at some gap, now we are not writing at the gap. So this is like this, easy readable code. You don't need to terminate things with semicolon. Okay, this is just the syntax. MATLAB way, easy readable, print commands, Python. Okay, I've just quickly compared syntaxes. In C, as you can see, okay, you are importing some libraries. Int main is compulsory in C. This is how you print some statement in C, printf. This is how you do in Java. You have to use some keywords, public class, public static, and the system print out how you print things in Java. This is how you print in Python. Just write print and that's it. So this is just few comparisons, just to make you little familiar. So okay, yeah, I did some quick Google search also for this. There are some few big sites which are made with Python. Google is made on Python, YouTube, all the coding languages is written in Python. Nobody tells you the truth, but I think so. Those Python code are still being converted into C++. I think so. I'm not 100% sure on this one, but yeah, I think so. So Quora, Yahoo, and so on, famous websites. Python. Okay, let's go into detail of little bit Python. I'll wrap up in 10 minutes hopefully. So yeah, there are two versions of Python: Python 2 and Python 3. Python 2 was a little old version. So again, the 2 was divided into many other categories, like Python 2 came, then Python 2.1, 2.2, 2.5, 2.6, and 2.7 was famous like up till like 2010 or something. Then they kind of maybe wanted to update things, wanted to introduce some new syntaxes. Then some Python 3.4, 3.5, 3.6, 3.7 came. Generally people say it in this: anything which is like 2.5, 2.6, 2.7 is Python 2. Anything which is like after 3, it's 3 Python 3. Yeah, go ahead.
You know why?
Why? No, I don't know.
Because if it is 2.5, it means they could
Yeah, smart girl. Yeah, sure. So, oh,
But I think the
We have the same
person,
issue.
the person who wrote this language, he was sitting in a forest. See, Python, Anaconda.
spider will also come. Yeah.
What's happening?
And after there is this pandas. There is this pandas also in this. So okay. Anyway. So this is Python 2 and Python 3. One way to use Python is download the Python compiler from Python website. Okay, you download Python, it will only run Python. But then suppose if you want to do FFT, there is no FFT in Python. You have to install some additional libraries on top of that, which we take it in granted for MATLAB. But once you install those libraries, then we can take it for granted. So Python itself is like very small, 100 MB I guess, Python compiler maximum. Then on top of that you install some libraries, 10 MB, 30 MB, 40 MB, which are like sort of must needed to do sine, to do cosine, to do FFT, to maybe plot things, which you have to do it. When I started Python in masters, I was doing it individually, so it was very troublesome job at that time. But later, so this is one way to download individual packages, install the libraries you want onto top of that, and for that you need to know which libraries you want. Okay, if you want to plot something, you need to know, okay, there is matplot library in Python, you have to install that. But then these guys, they made an Anaconda package where there are like 200 or 300 libraries in itself. You just install it, and like there are more than enough packages in that. You don't have to bother about that. It will be similar to MATLAB. Just install it, get done with it, finish, use your Python, and that's it. 200 packages, something more than enough to work it. And then there is a, like as MATLAB window is there, ID, what I was saying, similar to that there is a ID in Anaconda also called as spider. I'll show you. Okay, ID and code editor quickly. So ID in MATLAB window there are many functions, additional functions. In code editor, which code editor you use in FORTRAN? No, this basic one we use, gedit. Gedit. It's yeah, GFortran is a compiler. VI is Vim. People use gedit, like just a simple text editor. Notepad.
Notepad yeah.
Notepad++. Are just text editors. You write your code in that. If you write wrong syntax in somewhere, it won't tell you, okay, syntax is wrong. You have to figure it by yourself. On the other hand, if you write wrong syntax in MATLAB window, it will kind of show with the squiggly red line.
So for example, if I have to write like a C code, generally for C code I use Notepad++. So is there any other text editor that I can use basically that can tell me that if I've got something wrong?
Yeah, it's full of their code.
I don't like Visual Studio because it's very heavy.
Okay, Visual Studio, code blocks, Eclipse. I guess
I've tried a few
Emacs
times
is code
with-
editor.
Yeah.
Emacs is not ID. Emacs is code editor.
I've tried a few times
Yeah,
with
but
Visual
it
Studio.
No.
Can also give you some.
No, Emacs is code editor, and VS Code. Okay, let's wrap it up. So okay, so this is IDE. If you will like, if suppose maybe anybody of you go for an interview or something, somebody asked me in the interview like, what you use for C++ or where you write your code. If I would have told him or her like I use IDE, nobody likes this thing. People don't use IDE in industries, they use code editors, because this makes you like familiar to figure out the errors in your code, and you cannot again install IDEs on servers. So welcome to her. So code editors, they are fast. Okay, I have written few IDEs over here: Visual Studio, JetBrains, Spider, MATLAB. Code editors: Vim, Emacs. Emacs is a code editor. Sublime Text. There is VS Code, which is my personal favorite. I use VS Code for the code editor. So which it is light, fast, and but generally to use code editors it's little tough for people to get familiar with. Anyway, quickly. On the left, this is IDE window of the MATLAB. On the right, this is IDE window of Visual Studio in which you can do C++. On the bottom, this is Emacs, code editor. Nothing, just file, edit few options here, there. So tough to find the errors, very tough. So Emacs. Editors for Python, there are three ways to use Python editors. One is Spider, VS Code, and Jupyter Notebook. Spider window is,
What is this? Spider?
yeah, this is the window of the spider, similar to MATLAB. IDE is similar to MATLAB, which we will be using in further sessions. So it comes with Anaconda install, you don't need to bother about it. This is just the window I'm showing, okay, how it looks like.
You just need to download Spider, that's it.
We need to install Anaconda, it will, Spider will be there in itself.
What if Anaconda eats Spider then?
Yeah, then you can go try with pandas.
Yeah, I think it's very dangerous person.
So yeah, this is okay, Spider. Then this is VS Code. This is more of a code editor. It's little less than IDEs, but little better than Emacs. So it's somewhere in between. I use mostly this one. There is an inbuilt terminal in this one, so this is the part which I like about this. And if you have heard about GitHub, there is direct way to upload codes to the GitHub website. If not, it's okay. So okay, VS Code is good. And third is this came latest. This is the latest thing, like 3-4 years back. Python provides this option where you can write code in Chrome or Internet Explorer if you want to write code in web browsers. Like, what is the benefit of using it? If you see here in middle IN1, I have written few code lines. Here there are few code lines, but on the top or bottom you can kind of use text files. You can use kind of text also, with code also, with figures also. You can print this thing. It will be kind in the like in the industry. You can show it to like students.
Like a live script in the
Yeah, you can easily write like over there. If you see, okay, there is blue underline thing. You can write equations also. That you can show, okay, I'm implementing this part in the code. So this can be done in web browsers. This is good. Python provide this. Nobody else provide this. I'm just wrapping up in 2 minutes. So yeah, future session. So in the future I will be talking about syntaxes and how to use libraries, how to run code in Python. At the end I just want to say that there are many programming languages and they are just a tool to do the things you want to do. If you do not know what to do, then they won't help. Okay, they're just the tools, and it's better to know in advance which programming language to use for which thing. There are always pros and cons, and I guess